जो कि मैं सेल्फ स्टडी करूँगा, तो आप लोग भी सुन सकते हैं। चाहें तो कुछ मैसेज वगैरह हो तो आप कर सकते हैं, ठीक है। मैं उसे डेफिनेटली ऑलरेडी मैंने पहले भी लाइव्स थोड़ी वो करी हैं, लाइव गया हूँ मैं बहुत बार, तो आप वो देख सकते हैं, ठीक है। प्लीज़ अपना प्यार शो करिएगा। और मैं लाइव करता रहता हूँ, मैं बुक्स पढ़ता हूँ इसमें, स्टोरी बुक्स, तो आप वो भी देख सकते हैं, ठीक है। और मैं पढ़ना स्टार्ट करता हूँ। आप चाहे तो एंजॉय कर सकते हैं, कुछ भी कमेंट वगैरह हो तो कर सकते हैं, मैं उसका रिप्लाई कर दूँगा। तो चैप्टर का नाम है, बुक का नाम है द जर्नी बियॉन्ड, एंड स्टोरी है द एलियन प्लैनेट बाय कृष्णा नारायण। Suddenly, he felt a strange presence next to him. He turned in panic. Beside him was a large brown object, the like of which he had never seen. Okay. पेंसिल गायब है जी, ना भूलो। मैं बेरंग तू चमक है, फर्क है। So yes, the chapter's name is The Alien Planet. Where's my plans go? Suddenly, Raja felt a strange presence next to him. He turned in panic. Beside him was a large brown object, the like of which he had never seen, and the object appeared to be alive. Raja was paralyzed with shock. The object came closer very, very slowly. It seemed to ooze forward like a giant snail. It was covered with a thick coat of fur. The creature was simply a roly poly elliptical ball of fur. The signals that Raja had been getting now sounded loud and clear, and he realized that they came from this strange creature. It was telling him, "Don't fear, I'm with you." It was Raja's first space flight, the Odyssey. What does the Odyssey mean? Odyssey. It was Raja's first space flight. He strapped himself to his seat with mixed feelings. On the one hand, he was terribly excited. On the other, he was nervous for facing the unknown. Raja had prepared himself thoroughly for the voyage. He had read a lot about space travel. He had successfully passed the 8-week physical and mental conditioning programs conducted by the Space Organization, and yet, as the Panthen thoroughly for the voyage. He had read a lot about space travel. He had successfully passed the 8-week physical and mental conditioning programs conducted by the Space Organization. And yet, as the for takeoff approached, there were butterflies in his tummy. "Hey, you, Raja, aren't you?" asked his co-passenger, leaning over. "I am Exarus, an astronomer in the Space Organization. I know your dad, Suraj. This is your first name, isn't it?" Raja nodded. Exarchus was going to say more, but was interrupted by the steady blinking of the lights within the cabin of the spacecraft. "1 minute for takeoff," crackled the voice of the pilot through the speakers. Exarchus winked at Raja. "It's only 360,000 kilometers to Armstrong Space Station," he said. "Of course, our flight path isn't in a straight line, so that the actual distance we traveled will be much longer. Still, Armstrong Space Station. Flight path isn't in a straight line, so that actual distance will be much longer. Still, the flight shouldn't take more than 28 hours. 360,000 kilometers, almost 10 times the circumference of Earth. He would be traveling that far straight out into space." Raja's stomach felt queasy just about thinking about it. With a tremendous burst of power, Space Shuttle Goddard, with its 5 passengers, blasted off from planet Earth towards Armstrong Space Station. 12-year-old Raja, the youngest person in history to be aboard a spacecraft, was one of the passengers. He would be famous when he returned to planet Earth. But fame was the last thing on Raja's mind as he shot into space. He only thought of his father, whom he was going to meet after 2 years. The Space Shuttle Goddard soared through the turbulent atmosphere at a speed of 15 km per second. It took barely 10 minutes to cross the atmosphere. Yet Raja knew that this was the most critical period in the entire flight. ठीक है. The friction between the dense atmosphere and the speeding aircraft was so high that the temperature of the shell would rise to 800 degrees Celsius, the temperature of a blast furnace. Soon Goddard rose higher into the stratosphere, which was only 1 by 100th as dense as the atmosphere and was therefore much calmer. The turbulence decreased. Planet Earth was receding into the distance. Raja watched it on a television screen fitted at the end of the cabin. Receding into the distance. Was receding the distance. Into the distance. Raja watched it on a television screen fitted at one end of cabin. Part of planet Earth was hidden by vast swirling clouds. Raja could see broad areas of brown surrounded by a bluish white hue of oceans. Was that patch of brown? Sector 3, he wondered. Raja peered at the screen more closely, trying to fit the land shapes with his knowledge of planet Earth's geography. Planet Earth of the 21st century was divided into 8 equal sectors. Earth of the 21st century was divided into 8 equal sectors. Earth was no longer a division of countries, colonies, or power blocks, only sectors. It was divided quite simply into 8 parts like portion of a plum cake. Raja looked around at his 4 co-passengers. He knew two of them quite well, Dr. Pasha and Dr. Bell. They had gone through the pre-flight training program together. The third, who had just introduced himself, was Exirus. He was a lean, bespectacled he was a lean, spectacled man with a receding forehead and thinning hair. The fourth man was seated directly opposite Raja. From the cloth badge stitched to his space suit, Raja learned that his name was Hugh Diffie and that he was a pilot. Hugh Diffie was a bear of a man with fleshy face and hairy, powerful arms and a shock of hair growing wild on his head. For some strange reason, Raja took an instant dislike to him. Was it because of his uncouth appearance or the unfriendly glances that he cast at the rest of them? He cast at rest of them. Hugh Duffy noticed that Raja was watching him. He turned away with a grunt. Raja grimaced. A hand fell across Raja's arm. It was Exirus. He was smiling. Don't bother about him, he said. Ludafi, Ludafi has had some problems back on planet Earth. He's an old associate of your father. He's reporting back on the space station after home leave. Exirus changed the subject. Do you know why this spaceship is called Goddard? Raja shook his head. Robert Goddard was a scientist from the United States, now in Sector 1 of planet Earth, said Exirus. On March 16, 1926, nearly 150 years ago, Goddard launched the world's first liquid-fueled rocket. The rocket was little more than a Christmas cracker. Its flight lasted only 2.5 seconds and it traveled 41 feet. Yet Goddard was a pioneer in his field, for he dreamed of rockets powered by nuclear fuel, spacecraft powered by liquid hydrogen and oxygen. Madness in those times, but a reality today. Raja listened with fascination. What a great dreamer Goddard was. Goddard was a man far ahead of his time. He designed a rocket that would go faster than sound. He designed rocket controlled by complicated guidance system and even a multi-stage rocket. He deserved the honor of having a spaceship named after him, don't you think? Raja nodded. He sank further back in his seat and watched the television screen. The sky had grown dark. Spaceship Goddard had settled down to a steady, smooth, noiseless flight through the ionosphere. The constellations were spread out in a wondrous star spangled blanket, looking more beautiful and more magical than ever seen from planet Earth. It was hypnotic to the eyes, soothing to the brain. Raja slept. Ionosphere, the constellations were spread out in a wondrous star spangled blanket. Star Spangled Blanket. Chapter topic 1 close.